Alright, what's up everybody? I just got done finished reading chapter 1098 of One Piece and I'm going to be reviewing it here. It is quite a heavy chapter, so that's why I also have my kitty cat right here. She's always on my desk, so I decided to put her on the video too. There's a lot going on that's really sad. When we left off in chapter 1097, we saw that Ginny got kidnapped. I did see people theorizing that it was possibly the Celestial Dragons, and this time we did figure out that it was. Oh no, my cat Cam. Alright, as I was saying, people were saying that it was probably a Celestial Dragon that stole and kidnapped Ginny at the end of last chapter. And so I didn't know who it would be. I was pretty surprised that the commander of the East Division, I think she was, just got captured out of nowhere. They had to be a powerful group to capture them. Alright, so this chapter starts off with Ivankov, most likely Dragon, and Kuma all in a call together talking about how South Blue needs help. And Ivankov is saying that they're too busy, they're at the Go Kingdom. So it's probably around this time that they're able to save Sabo, which is confirmed later on in this chapter that this is when that happens. But Kuma going crazy after Ginny got captured. He's just like immediately, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna go save them. But Ivankov right away is saying that like Kuma's being rash. They're going at it all the time. They probably haven't had a moment of silence since Ginny got captured. Kuma was probably just the entire time, battle after battle, not resting. And then man, I love this frame. I wish I can show it to y'all because it's such a great frame of Kuma's face as he arrives to the battle at South Blue, and he's just so angry thinking about Jenny. Oh my god, dude, I love it. When I was reacting to it, I was just like, damn, that's a cold ass panel. Right before it is showing a picture of Jenny, and right after it's confirming that she was taken by Celestial Dragons. And so these series of panels are just confirming how Kuma is just going crazy, going to battle, like I said, winning every battle. It took him, whatever kingdom this was in the South Blue, took him 3 years. And apparently right as he got there, he was able to just switch the title battle and just win this war right away. And the people of the kingdom were celebrating the heroes of the people, the Revolutionary Army. And god, after the battle, you just see Kuma all bloodied up calling Dragon that he can't even use his powers to fly back to, I'm assuming, Baltigo, and he has to go by ship because he's so beat up, he's so worn out by the battle that he can't even, use his paw powers to fly away. So after all this, we see that 2 years have passed, and we see that Ginny is on some sort of ship traveling back. Oh, where is it? The Sorbet Kingdom. We're nearly there, Bonney. So at this point, she has Bonney. And it's at this point we see that Ginny is calling from the Sorbet Kingdom to Baltigo to talk to Dragon, Kuma, and Ivankov about how they were able to make it out somehow. I'm assuming that they were kicked out. I remember in the Celestial Dragons, they would just like take wives and then throw them away as soon as they didn't want them anymore. So I'm assuming this is what happened with Ginny as well. And they're calling the trio at the Revolutionary Army that they're back, but they're sick. And Kuma at this point is just like pretty much in tears. Yeah. I can see that they're in tears. Talking about like, where are you? Obviously, he can go anywhere so fast. So he was like, Ginny, where are you? I'm going to go see you. Where are you? And Ginny just says that they're at that store. She's saying that Kuma shouldn't see her in this state, which is, come on, like, you know that Kuma wants to see you in this state, no matter what. After 2 years of being gone, they want to see you. Ginny's been through so much. It's been obvious that, I don't know if we can really talk about it on YouTube, but you know what must have happened when they were kidnapped and they come back with a baby by a Celestial Dragon. It's so fucked up. She's just talking to them, talking about how much she loves him, even though he goes crazy and just guesses that she's at Sorbet Kingdom, which is, a good guess to have. So he flies away. As he's doing that, she's talking about how much she loves him. But unfortunately, because he's so distraught and so hopeful to see Ginny for the first time in 2 years, that he doesn't get to hear her say that, which is so heartbreaking, man. And so as he reaches the Sorbet Kingdom, he makes it back to the church where they grew up, and he finds her body there, lifeless. Ooh, man. And this like panel, it's so scary. You can see a panel of her hand and a panel of her ankle all covered in what we'll later find out is like an emerald disease. I forgot what the emerald disease is called, but her body is covered in blue emeralds, and it's what ends up killing her. It's this disease that nobody knows what it is. And apparently it gets way worse in the sun. You get a couple panels of Kuma remembering Ginny when they were like young kids, eating, crying of happiness. And then when Ginny asked Kuma to marry her in the last chapter, man, I know why Kuma didn't want to marry her and why he didn't want to have a family with her. It was just so that he doesn't pass on the Buccaneer blood that cursed his family pretty much. I don't know. I kind of wanted them to get married, but I understand like how much worse it would have been if he was married to her and then all this ended up happening anyway. But then I don't know, maybe in that alternate timeline, maybe they wouldn't be in the Revolutionary Army. Maybe they would have just been growing a family in the Sorbet Kingdom there, alone, being happy without like being in war, being in battle, without the risk of being kidnapped. But who's to say? In this timeline, this is is what happened, and it's so tragic for Kuma. Kuma, before the last like couple of chapters that they've been doing the flashbacks for Kuma's life, he was already like in my top 5 favorite One Piece characters just based off of his design and just based off like the little that we know about him. It was Buggy, Bonchan, Brook, Jinbei, and Kuma. Those are like my 5 favorite One Piece characters. And it's just so insane that Oda was able to make a flashback. I mean, he always does this, right? He always makes such tragic, amazing flashbacks that make you fall in love with these characters even more. Like I said, I already loved Kuma. He was so cool. He had such a dope design. And then just to know this background story of him, it's so tragic. I fucking love him, man. He's so cool. I feel so bad for him. He didn't deserve any of this. Oh, sorry about that kitty cam. That is that's not that's not a great shot of what my kitty's doing. But anyway, back to the chapter. Oh man, Kuma's just sitting there cradling Ginny's dead body and crying over it, man. It's so depressing. But yeah, right there, he sees that Ginny had a baby with her, and you can see like this small panel of him staring at Bonney, just stunned in disbelief, and like, I don't know what emotion it would be really, because it sort of looks like he's distraught at the sight of her, but it's more so like shock is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Like, he's so shocked to see this baby right at the time that he meets Jenny again, as she's already dead. And he swears to her on her deathbed that he's gonna raise Bonney up. You see him like trying to feed her by bottle, and all the other like villagers at their villages like telling him exactly how to do it right, because he's so bad at it. He's so big, he's so clumsy. Man, it's so adorable. He's feeding her. Oh no. When I was reading this yesterday, I didn't get a chance to record this yesterday, but when I was reading this yesterday, I didn't get as emotional as I'm doing right now talking about it. But like, you know, he's feeding Bonney, he's like remembering Jenny, and he's just so happy to see like how he's able to raise Bonney so amazingly. Every other panel is just him crying about Bonney growing up and being cute, feeding her, being hugged by the other villagers as, oh, cat gonna leave? I think she's gonna leave right now. And then you get a couple panels of taking care of Bonney, a couple panels of like him going off to battle as the revolutionary army retake kingdoms away from like cruel dictators and shit, bathing Bonney, back to a battle, sleeping with Bonney, oh, training Sabo. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, that when Ivankov was in the Goa kingdom, that's when they got Sabo around this time. He's probably like what, some 9 years old at this point, maybe, I think, training with Kuma. But anyway, after all these panels, we see that Kuma, he boarded up all the windows of the church because they can see that Bonney is getting that emerald disease that Jenny had, and she has a little bit on her cheek. I didn't notice this until like a little bit after, but like that's exactly where she has her piercing at. She has this like little grown emerald that comes up, and that's like potentially gonna kill her as she grows older. So we get a couple panels of like people reacting, the villagers reacting, doctors of the Sorbet Kingdom reacting to Bonney's condition, and nobody really knows what it is. So he goes and meets up with Dragon and Ivankov, telling them that he's gonna leave the revolutionary army for a while because he's just gonna take care of Bonney for now. He needs to find a doctor, and Dragon says that they'll actually contact every doctor that they have in their network to see if anybody knows about this emerald disease. He's talking about how like it sucks that Kuma has to leave, but living with no regrets is the more important thing, and taking care of Jenny's daughter. So then we cut a couple more years into the future where Bonney is age 5. Damn, this is 7 years ago. So this is when Luffy was 12 years old and Bonney is age 5. Man, she's young. And she's like at this point pretty much getting bullied by the other kids in town, saying that she's like a demon. What did they say that she is? Oh, they call her a vampire. That's so messed up. I'm guessing that she might be able to come out at night, but then I don't know if like the moon, the reflection of the sun on the moon would affect her, but I don't know. They pull out a cross and point at her, calling her a vampire, and she kicks him in the face, saying like, dude, I'm in a church. What are you gonna do with a cross at me? And they go away crying because, you know, they're little assholes. And so as they go away crying, Kuma comes up and consoles Bonney, saying that like, you know, she shouldn't be going off. Even close to the door is dangerous. She can't even go there. She calls him a warrior, and he starts crying already, just hugging her. He calls her a cry. He calls him oh my god, why am I getting all the pronouns wrong? She is calling Kuma a crybaby already. And then in the next panel, she gets a little sad, you know, talking about her emerald disease and how she's got this stuff on her face and how it makes her so different. And she's talking about how, like, you know, it's not her fault. She didn't mean to get sick. And I love this panel because it's like, it's where she gets her nickname pretty much. Kuma says, oh, are you talking about your jewels? They're so precious. You got to find a way to accept your condition. And I don't know how, like, if I'm going to word this correctly, but you know, like, she's got this emerald on her face, and he's just trying to like make her happy that she's got amazing jewels Oh, bye-bye, Pippa. All right, let me get the cat cam out of there. All right, and so later on at night, Bonney is feeling, kind of like sad that all the kids are making fun of her just because she's got these like emerald disease that pop up on her face. And Kuma trying to like uplift her spirit and make her happier and like cheerful about like her condition, like as best as they can. He comes out and says that, oh, are you talking about your jewels? They're so pretty and they're so jealous about it. It makes her happy. It makes her like fall more in love with it. As happy and content as you can with the situation, because obviously it's not something they control. It's not something that they want. But when stuff like this happens, you do your best to make it as happy of a situation that you can. And as I was reading this, I realized that that's why she's called Jewelry Bonney. It stemmed from like her disease, this emerald disease, and that's where Kuma started calling her Jewelry Bonney, I suppose. And not necessarily calling her, hey, you're Jewelry Bonney, but just noticing that like Bonney has these jewels on her face and just making it a part of her identity in a happy way, not in a bad way. Man, oh, this is so sad. And if you remember in Sabouti, whenever he would try to teleport away one of the Straw Hats, he would be asking them like, where's a place that you'd like to go for vacation? And here in this chapter, he's talking to Bonney about, hey, where would you want to go on a trip when you grow up? Or when her disease goes away. And she starts talking about Sky Island and Fishman Island, and how like, they might be able to see Nika up there in Sky Island and all this amazing stuff. It's just so amazing that Kuma, like all these little things, actually, they bring it back to Oda. It's so amazing that all these little things, I doubt he had all of this stuff fleshed out, what was it, 13, 14 years ago at Sabouti? But he's able to like bring it all around into Kuma's character backstory of Zoro, at least, Usopp maybe, like where he wants to go off to vacation on a trip, and that's where they take him. And this is like where it starts. It's so amazing that Oda is able to do this. Like I can't stop gushing about it, and I'm just gonna move forward because it's gonna be me rambling about it. And then coming up, we see a doctor that has come and seen Bonney's condition, who finally is able to give it a name. It's called Sapphire Scale. He says that it's incurable. And at this point in their technological and medical history, they just can't cure it. It's impossible with their knowledge at that point. I had that question earlier that like the moon would also damage Bonney's skin. And right here, the doctor does says that the stones grow exponentially bathed in any form of natural light like the sun or moon. So that does confirm it that she's just trapped in that church for, it's been what, 3 years maybe? Maybe she got it at like 2 years old. It's been like 3 years since then or something. And he says that like this disease is going to catch up with the person and it's going to kill them no matter what, even if they're not out in the sun. The doctor says that she has at most 5 more years. Oh, my kitty's back. Oh, I am not. Sit down, Pippa. Let's not show them that. Okay, my cat is back. And he mentions that he's giving Bonney 5 more years before the disease takes over and kills her, unfortunately. And Kuma's distraught. He's crying that she'll be dead before her 10th birthday. Bonney, oh my God, Bonney, come on. She scares Kuma, and Kuma's talking about how like, yo, you should have been asleep. What are you doing? And that she heard that it will be all over by the age of 10, which is true. And this is what Kuma's going to do. Like, he's like, yeah, it's going to be over by your 10, but he doesn't say that it's going to kill her by the time that she's 10. He just like lets her believe at this point in the story that, just a couple 5 more years and she'll be like cured of it. We don't know what's going to happen, how this is going to happen. We don't know if this Bonney is going to die of the disease and then maybe another Bonney is going to be cloned. I'm not really a fan of that theory. I'm thinking that hopefully Vegapunk is able to figure out a way to cure her disease, but then I don't know if he would be able to like take it off and then she's just like cured somehow, or even if she takes it off, they'll just grow back eventually. I really don't want the Bonney that we know to be a clone of this Bonney, but it's just something that we're gonna have to wait and see. And so at the end of this chapter, to end it all off, we see that there are towns that are burning down in the Sorbet Kingdom, and the elder villagers are coming to Kuma saying that the old king, what's his name, Bakori? I guess it's his name, Bakori, has come back and started raising all these villages. I'm guessing elder people that he doesn't care about and doesn't want in his kingdom. We get, a cliffhanger of Kuma, this shadow over his face, this straw of what's going to happen next. I was wondering too, we're assuming at this point in this next chapter, he's going to go get rid of this kingdom once and for all. And that's when he becomes the king of the Sorbet Kingdom. There's a lot that's going to happen in the next like 5 years, or was it 7 years? This is all 7 years before the current timeline, right? Yeah, this is all happening 7 years before the current timeline, which is 5 years before Luffy starts his journey. So within 5 years, Kuma is going to go from, just a church person. I don't know what he is right now. He's just living at a church. He's going to go from this to being a king to being branded a tyrant and then being a pirate, I'm gonna guess, and then becoming a warlord. So that's like 4 things that has to happen within the next 5 years. Maybe like one every year. I don't know how that's gonna be. It's gonna happen so fast because like years go by with like nothing changing, and then like within 5 years he's supposed to be a warlord, known as a tyrant. He's supposed to be known, I remember when they first introduced him, he's supposed to be known as like one of the cruelest pirates out there. So I don't know how all of this transpires. I don't know how, I'm assuming propaganda happens about Kuma's character, because as we can see, Kuma is like an amazingly thoughtful, empathetic, amazing person, and within 5 years he's going to be known as a tyrant, as a killer, as a gruesome pirate. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next chapter. I don't know how much more they're going to show in the next chapter. I'm gonna guess they're going to speed run him becoming king, him leaving the kingdom to become a warlord, meeting Vegapunk and having Vegapunk be like, 1, turn him into a robot, and 2, heal Bonney's Emerald Scale disease. So I'm assuming that that's what's going to happen in the next chapter, but I don't know. I still don't know how Bonney is going to have her Emerald Scale healed, but that's just something that we're going to need to figure out in the next chapter. I know Oda, I'm assuming, hold on, let me see this. Yeah, break next week, which Oda needs to do this, all right? Because like I didn't bring it up in the beginning of the chapter, but he mentioned how not all of the drawings in this chapter were finished yet, and specifically in 2023. I don't know about 2022. I don't remember 2022 very well about One Piece chapters, but he's been taking long breaks and he's had surgery. I'm sure he's burnt out. He needs to rest. One Piece is my favorite intellectual property. I just love it. It's such an amazing comic book, manga. I can't get enough of it, but I don't want it at the expense of Oda's health. Even if it's 2 weeks, like give him 2 weeks. You weren't able to finish these drawings, which I don't blame you for. It's whatever. A lot of people have brought up the sketchy drawings, particularly around the time when Kuma finds out about Jenny's death, adds to the story and makes it more real to Kuma's character in that moment. So it works in this chapter, but I honestly don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind about the quality of the sketchwork, of the artwork and stuff. Like I think it's been fine so far no matter what, but I just care about Oda's health. He needs to rest. I'm not gonna cry over missing One Piece for 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. Like let the man rest. It's all good, Oda. You don't have to like pump out artwork anymore. You've been doing this since 97, 26 years. Jesus, dude, that's almost as old as I am, just weekly turning out One Piece. Oda, take like a month off. We'll be okay with it. I'm assuming that in 2 weeks we'll get a new chapter. We'll figure out what happens with Kuma and Bonney next, and I can't wait. They're so amazing. Like I said in the beginning of this chapter, Kuma is one of my top 5 favorite characters just based off of his design, but this flashback has solidified him. I'm not really gonna rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's for sure gonna stay in my top 5 favorite characters. He's always just gonna be there. He's such an amazing character. I love it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Kuma is amazing. I think Oda is amazing. I think this flashback is amazing, even though it's so gruesome and so sad. Like he's had, in my opinion, probably the saddest backstory. I think a lot of people will talk about Law and Sanji and Nami and people like that. For me, Kuma's is hitting the most. I think it's also because he's just one of my favorite characters. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Peace out.